The idea of a persona is fascinating because it deals with the different versions of ourselves that we present to the world. The word originates from Latin, where it referred to the masked actors wore in ancient theater. In modern times, it has evolved to represent the social masks or roles that individuals assume in various situations. We all have personas, different versions of ourselves that we show depending on the context, whether it's at work, with family, or among friends. What's interesting about personas is how they allow us to navigate complex social environments. We adapt our behavior based on the expectations of the people around us, often without even realizing it. For example, the persona you present in a professional meeting might be more formal, restrained, and confident than the one you show when you're relaxing with close friends. It's not that one persona is more real than the other, but rather that each serves a specific function depending on the situation. The flexibility of persona also speaks to the complexity of human identity. We aren't static beings with just one personality. Instead, we shift and change based on our surroundings, moods, and relationships. This adaptability is part of what makes social interactions so dynamic. It's like we're constantly performing different versions of ourselves, each one tailored to the expectations and demands of the moment. But while personas are useful, they also raise interesting questions about authenticity. One of the central debates around the concept of persona is whether it distances us from our true selves. If we're always adjusting our behavior and personality to fit into social norms, are we ever really being genuine? The idea of an authentic self versus a constructed persona has intrigued psychologists and philosophers for years. While some argue that we all have an inner, authentic core that gets masked by our personas, others believe that identity is more fluid, and our personas are just as much a part of who we are as any true self. Social media adds another layer to this idea of persona. Online, we often create highly curated versions of ourselves, showing only the highlights of our lives or projecting an image that fits with how we want to be perceived. These digital personas can be far removed from reality, yet they are still an important part of our social identity. The distance between our online persona and our real-life self can sometimes create tension or feelings of inauthenticity, but it can also be a creative outlet where people experiment with how they present themselves. Another fascinating aspect of persona is how it evolves over time. As we grow and change, so do the personas we adopt. What might have worked for us in our teenage years might not suit us as adults. For instance, the rebellious or carefree persona of youth may give way to a more responsible or thoughtful persona as life circumstances change. This evolution is a natural part of human development, reflecting our changing priorities, beliefs, and experiences. Yet, there are times when people become trapped in a persona. Perhaps they've built a reputation or image that no longer aligns with who they've become, but they feel pressured to maintain it because others expect them to be that way. This can lead to a sense of inner conflict, where a person feels disconnected from the persona they're presenting to the world. In these cases, shedding or reshaping a persona can be a liberating process, allowing someone to embrace a more authentic version of themselves. Ultimately, the concept of persona highlights the flexibility and complexity of human identity. We wear different masks in different contexts, each serving a purpose in helping us navigate the world. But beneath all these layers, there's still a core part of us that remains constant, even as our personas shift and evolve. Understanding and embracing this dynamic can lead to deeper self-awareness and more meaningful interactions with others.